Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to drive smarter with high-tech features and excellent reliability. Check out the Honda Civic, Accord, or HR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic or a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Accord or HR-V.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Feeling drained, foggy, or just not yourself? This could be the effects of low testosterone levels. Henry Meds has you covered. Our testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, is available in pills, injectable, or daily creams. Many patients report improvements in energy, mood, and focus. Though individual results may vary, TRT may support sexual function. Go to henrymeds.com/TRT to consult a healthcare provider to see if TRT is right for you. Take the first step to feeling your best again and get $50 off your first month at henrymeds.com/TRT.
Hail cheaters! Welcome to the Always Cheating Podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
I'm good, Josh. You know, it's the giddy feeling of we're in the home stretch,
Yep.
and I don't think I have to embody this because people tuning into the podcast understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Chip season, it's home stretch.
Yeah.
It's all, basically, we're all vibes.
Do you like chip season? Do you like game week 33 more than game week 6?
You know, I would liken it to this. It's like Christmas season. There is a season in which you have to get your Christmas list together,
Right.
for Santa Claus, and you have to sort of figure out how to position the priorities of what you want on the Christmas list to make sure that you get what you want under the tree.
Yep.
And that's actually the most optimistic point of the season.
Right.
The worst part of Christmas is when you submit the list and then it's just the waiting, and you wait to see what you get under the season.
Yeah.
Under the tree, because you know it's gonna be as good as it could be. It's not going to meet expectations.
I do like that you are an adult. You are the rare adult, I would say, who still submits a Christmas list to his mother.
Yeah. My mom demands it.
Yeah.
But I feel like chip season is that moment where things appear under the tree to surpass your expectations or not meet your expectations. And that's the worst part of Christmas season.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's an interesting,
interesting
metaphor. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's the fact that you weren't expecting this question and invented this whole elaborate metaphor out of whole cloth is impressive.
Don't you think this is true? Like chip season is everything you plan, you sort of proto-planned in game weeks 20 to 25, and where they come to pass or not.
Yeah, you're right. It's a kind of high risk, high reward season. So yes, I do understand. I mean, there are times when you get kind of more than you asked for, right? And I think the Newcastle Palace match last week was an example of that, at least for you and me, maybe more than others, right? Because you and I had Nick Pope in goal, right? And so we get the
penalty save, the most undeserved fantasy points. Always,
truly an unexpected Christmas present.
The BB gun in the corner of the living room.
Truly, that is exactly what it is. Yeah, and then he gets 2 points the next week, which is you'll shoot your eye out moment. Right there. So, so I mean, it gives and it takes. I think that's true. I would say. It can, when it's fun, it's really fun. I mean, like when the Newcastle match was over, I think I was up like 33% on my overall rank over what I was at going into the season, or going into the game, right? Which is a lot for this late in the season, right? It takes a lot to move up that much. And so I think I actually maybe got to my highest rank of the season after that match. So that was, so it can be good. When it goes bad, it's like, I mean, this weekend was kind of an example of that, because you had basically every single captain asset blanked, right? At least so far, right? It's double game week, so we have more opportunities. But Saka starts unexpectedly. There is a red card in that match, right? 30-ish minutes in. Arsenal.
What did you think about that red card, by the way?
I don't know. I came to it late. I had to take my. This is like dumb parent stuff, but I had to take my kid. I refuse to. These tennis practice lessons that I'm sending my kid to are so expensive that I refuse to miss even one. And so because I just see each one is I just see the giant dollar sign behind it. Mm-hmm. So we because it was spring break week this week. That's why I was out. Thank you,
Josh Becker, basically rolling into these.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So thank you for doing the solo pod, by the way.
You're welcome. Yeah.
For the Patreon supporters. But we. So anyway, we had a makeup session that I scheduled for Sunday morning. It was the only time available. So I missed the first half of the match. So you tell me what you thought of the red card.
I thought it was a card that was basically for England. Where it was a bad challenge by Leif Davis. Yep. They raked the studs against the Achilles.
The FPL legend that never was Leif Davis.
Leif Davis totally could have been a magical Lord. Who was the legend Lord?
John Lundstrom.
Lundstrom.
You're thinking of?
Yeah. Leif Davis had basically the Lundstrom fortune at his feet.
Stuart Dallas.
Yeah.
Right?
Stuart Dallas, Lundstrom, and Leif Davis walked over to that fortune and he took a big old crap on top of it. Yep. And good riddance, goodbye to the championship. We will literally never see him again. And that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, some people are built for the championship. They're better there. Dwight Gale, I always thought was an excellent championship player.
Yeah, he's playing his trade at Hibs, who is just pulling in strong in third place in the Scottish Premier League right now. And I no hatred toward Leif Davis, but honestly, I guess bring me something better is my feeling with him. But I feel like the raking of the cleats against Saka's ankle it's like FPL, the FPL argument in a nutshell. This is the whole embodiment of the argument of do we or don't we with Saka going into a double game week. Saka is a wonderful player, one of the most elite England athletes, and why would Arteta play him in this match that is kind of nothing? Right. They could be moving into this pole position in the Champions League. The only reason why Arteta wouldn't play him is because of exactly what happened with Leif Davis. Yeah. And it happened. But what's also funny is the narrative around Saka is so built around injury, because that is kind of his personality, which I think is genuinely, if I'm like a brand coach, if I'm a marketing coach for Saka, let's change this.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't actually miss that much, right? He rarely misses matches. It's just that it feels like he's always about to get injured, right? I feel like
that's true. That's true.
It's a weird thing with him where he looks like he's always in pain. It's a little true. It's a weird one.
And when he went down to the Leif Davis challenge, I was immediately posted the always cheating Discord. I was like, Mr. Glass. They called me Mr. Glass. Mm-hmm. And it actually, Leif Davis gets the red card and you think it's horrible. But it turns out Saka gets up, bounces back, and has the highest XGI of any player in the game week. So it's like a great FPL saga in that here is a player who represents opportunity. He creates opportunity. He also fulfills destiny in terms of non-fulfilling narrative. So I regret all these podcasts where we report on players who do not fulfill their destiny. And I guess I'm not very optimistic for people who brought Saka in and captained him. I think you had your opportunity against Ipswich, and Saka was there. He was there with it, produced a huge XGI, and didn't deliver. And I think it's over for you, honestly. I don't know if he starts the next match.
I don't know if he starts. I mean, he could come off the bench. He scored a goal off the bench.
Is that salve, though? Is that optimistic?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the point is, you're really going in on Saka captainers, but I mean, it's, no one else has done it. I mean, Marmoush was relevant functionally in the Man City game. He had one chance. KDB didn't do much. All the Palace assets blanked. Even Salah blanked, right? So I think
huge,
no one really
Saka. It was basically Salah versus Saka in this game week, I think, thus far. And now advantage, you would say in the positive way, it is now advantage Saka captainers in that Saka has another match.
Yeah. What about Marmoush, though? I mean, I captained Marmoush this week.
Yeah, same. I did as well. And I think that is definitely a position of authority where a chalk captain Marmoush was. And Marmoush, I don't have the XGI numbers in front of me, but he was not terrible. It wasn't like Marmoush did not put shots off frame the way Saka did. So you could say for Marmoush captainers, you have the advantage here, in that he's more dialed in, I suppose. And there is what is the, now we get into the sort of like prospecting who starts and who doesn't start. Marmoush has the advantage over Saka captainers in that there are no obvious people to start in his position, whereas Saka there have been formations built without Saka for months now. So if you're a Marmoush captainer like we are, Josh, are you do you feel like you're in a better position than Saka captainers?
I don't know. I mean, it was just kind of a weird week for the captaincy. It was a weird week for transfers. It was just a strange double game week, I would say, in general. Like, weirdly, last week with just the two teams was a little easier in some ways. I really didn't know where to go with my transfers this week, right? And so, when it comes to the captaincy, like the Marmoush thing, I mean, I don't know, just give me like 2 more points. If I get 4, like, I'm like, I guess that's fine. I wouldn't say that I like necessarily see Man City like crushing Villa. Like, they looked kind of like your kind of contemporary toothless Man City to me in the Everton match. I mean, I know they scored a couple at the end, but defensively they look pretty good. I mean, I guess defenders ultimately were the way to go, and maybe we should have considered that a little bit more, right? I think you, if you had gone with Gvardiol or Saliba, you'd be in a much better position right now. It's very unexciting.
We both have Gvardiol and Saliba, though, right?
If we'd captained them, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
yes.
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah. So, I think that those were things that we could have considered, but as it stands, I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about Marmoush going into?
Well, if Marmoush scores a goal, and this conversation is moot, I suppose.
Right.
I have no issue with that. I think Marmoush captaincy becomes actually positive where we are now, where Saka blanked and Salah blanked. Those were the only impediments to the Marmoush captaincy. Marmoush presumably starts against Aston Villa, because there are no other options there.
Yeah, that's fine. Holland is like back in training, but Pep said that he won't
play.
Yeah.
He won't play.
Yeah.
So I have no. It's actually like Marmoush captainers should be grateful right now, honestly. And there is a moment I think where you go into not going in, but coming out of the deadline before any whistles are blown, where you think, you know what, I see the De Bruyne is in the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. I feel optimism, and it feels awful that you captain Marmoush, because Marmoush was the chalk captain. There's no optimism there. And now we're coming out of the weekend and nothing happened. And so I feel like that salve, and that should bolster Marmoush captainers. I think this is good. I think going into Aston Villa, you think the most likely outcome is you just put like points on obvious FPL assets, and Marmoush would be A+ number 1. They are home, and he will score get an assist or a goal.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what Arsenal do. They'll have a week after because they don't play this upcoming weekend, and so they'll have a week off. And so, I mean, he could run it back with the starters again. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think he'd play everybody today, so I really, so I don't feel like I have a total like bead on what he's going to do. Like, maybe he just plays Saka 55 minutes in both of those matches, right? I think if you have all of the defenders, you're fine. I mean, the thing is, like, with Liverpool winning again today, I mean, the title is over. I mean, right? There's really no.
They're one more match away. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So I don't mean it's literally over, but like it's effectively over, right? So there's
it's
now
been over.
Yeah, it's been over. But if it hadn't been over, it's been over now. Whatever.
Bend over.
Whatever the
Arsenal.
grammar. Yeah, whatever the grammar is there. And so I don't know. I think we'll see Raya and the two center backs, QER and Saliba start. Beyond that, I really don't know. And I think with Palace, it's the same thing. I don't know who they're going to start. Right? They shouldn't start They shouldn't start anyone. Like they should start all second squad players for this match as well. Right? Both teams should treat it like it's like a summer match. Right? Arsenal have no reason to play starters, and Palace have one of the biggest matches they've had in a long time. Right? They have a quality squad, and they've got they played everybody yesterday. And a pretty tough match, right, where they had to hang on just to get a point, right, after the Chris Richards red card. So, really, pretty difficult match that took a lot out of them. They have nothing to play for in the table. So, and they have an FA Cup, match at Wembley this weekend. So, if I were them, I wouldn't start any of my top players.
Yeah.
It just seems pointless.
Yeah, it's. I guess advantage, myself, I think let's talk about this. I want to talk about this.
Okay.
My team in game week 33, where I bench boosted, prepping for a free hit in game week 34. And the gambit was, here's the thing I kind of want to talk about beyond my game week score is my realization in game week 33 was the bench boost is not about playing more players. I realized that bench boost is actually opening up multiple strategies. Okay. So you have game week to game week, you've got 11 players that you can field, and you are kind of hemmed in. I need to sort of zero in on this strategy or that strategy, transfer this player to zero in on these fixtures, etc.
Yeah.
And with the bench boost strategy, it's all built around maximizing either double game weeks, bringing in more players for more fixtures. Let's get more fixtures. What I felt more this season than other seasons with the bench boost was the bench boost is an opportunity to achieve two different strategies at the same time, where I was able to the transfers that I made were I brought in Kivior for some defender, don't recall. And I brought in De Bruyne. So De Bruyne was like the punt, bring in some guy who is like a high upside guy. And Kivior was more of the pragmatic.
Sure. Yeah.
Try to get 2 clean sheets, like glory me.
Yep.
So the bench boost, if I didn't have the bench boost, I wouldn't have been able to imagine 2 different strategies. And I think that's kind of interesting and something I want to file away for future seasons, where it's less about playing, strategizing a wild card and transfers to play a bench boost to get blah, blah, blah number of guys. It's now I went in having the ability to go big defensive strategy plus a big attacking strategy. I
guess so. But I mean, you didn't add players to your bench with your transfer, right? I mean, you still I don't see how that's different than just having a kind of very varied strategy for a double game week, having kind of offense and defense. Where does the bench boost come into it? Because the bench boost didn't change.
The bench boost, basically the bench boost comes into it where you have, if I were to not play the bench boost, I would not see the advantage there, because I would, right now on my bench, I have Alonga left to play. I have Jacob Murphy and I have Howson at Bournemouth. Howson came through. These are 3 players who I'd want to play.
Right.
And that became ancillary. It's sort of like this. This to me is the advantage of the bench boost chip. It's a bonus. This is what it should be. It's a bonus. It's an add-on, as opposed to I need to play the bench boost that is the all-encompassing strategy that I have going into the game week.
Yeah, I guess I understand what you're saying. It's I guess ideally I would still, I don't know. I'll have to think about that more. I don't know. I ultimately didn't play my bench boost this week.
Yeah, so you have your bench boost left. So what do you where does this leave you?
Well, it leaves me playing it down the. I mean, to me, it was like I didn't have any particular desire to start Murphy or Huijsen or Pope or even Nico Williams for that matter this week, right? Like to me, those were all. I was happy to put all those players on the bench. As it turns out, Huijsen did get a clean sheet, right? I mean, helped along by the Palace red card, but regardless, right? So he got the clean sheet, blanks from Pope and Murphy. We'll see what Williams does tomorrow. So it's like, I mean, I guess like just by sheer like non-injured players, you know what I mean? Like I had a bench full of people who were probably going to play this week. You could argue that like the floor is pretty high for a bench boost in any game week, right? If you're just playing non-injured players, right? Like if I feel like you pick any game week across the season, I'm probably going to get around, I'm going to have one of my 4 players on the bench who does something, right? Yeah, so I don't really know. I mean, I think it's, I don't know when I'm going to use it. Maybe my season's like not any great shakes at this point either. So maybe I'll just use it in game week 38. I have no idea. I mean, like we are going to get another double game week in 36, right? We'll see what kind of opportunities that opens up. But I mean, I'm just going to, it won't be 34, right? That's for sure. I mean, at the moment, I have 8 players for 34 and I don't have a free hit.
So where are you coming out of game? Well, we're not coming out of anything right now. We're broadcasting on Sunday night. Where are you in the midst of game week 33?
Yeah, so I made a little bit of a here. I guess I'll share my team. Let me do that just so you can take a look as I'm talking here. I over minimized. The old.
That's what she said.
I don't know. Okay, let me go. So at the moment, so the transfer that I made 2 transfers this week. One was Gvardiol, which has worked out fine. And the other one was I took a little bit of a gamble, and I brought in Jared Bowen over instead of Saka, which was the move I was considering. The reason I did that is because I don't have a free hit, and I wanted a player who would play in 34.
This has worked out pretty well, I would say.
So far it's worked out well. Yeah, I mean, he got a goal. He would have been an 11 if they hadn't conceded in the 94th minute. I mean, West Ham is just going to continue to be like the biggest
1 point, don't you?
The biggest 2 points. It would have been 11 points. You don't mind when you get 2 points or lose it. It's irritating to me. And so I lost the 2 points. But it's fine. So at least I have Bowen for 34. And so basically the reason I did it is because West Ham hosts Southampton and Ipswich in 2 of the last 5 weeks of the season. So that was kind of the gamble. Unfortunately, it's kind of, what I'm finding to be a kind of frustrating, I don't necessarily want to talk about it this week because we should talk about the blank game week more in a second here. But, the FPL review recommended move was Mbeumo, and I went Bowen. And sort of all season long, I have frequently gone to review to look for ideas and then not taken their suggested idea. And their suggested idea has beaten the idea that I did. And it, is starting to make me but I also don't want to just be I don't quite understand the point of playing fantasy if I'm just going to plug my team into review.
Why are you going to review then? Would be the question.
Because it's available. It's because it's what they're doing is running simulations and looking at. I mean, they're looking at a lot of data, and if the data is going to spit out an answer, I'm curious what that answer is, right? I mean, it's the same as finding a sports book that is known to be especially sharp in a particular category, sure. Right?
So why go against it then?
Well, this is the tension I feel, right? Which is that it's in my head, I was well, I just kind of like Bowen, because it wasn't I did it just to be stubborn, right? It was I just thought, well, I just kind of like Bowen more home to Southampton than I do Mbeumo versus Brighton. And maybe I didn't fully take into account how much Brighton have just kind of quit on their season. I don't understand why exactly. Like I felt like they were rolling for a bit, but so and so I sort of like that was kind of the gamble. So I was like slightly irritated that Mbeumo ended up outscoring him by 9, but in the end, 9 points looks good. I mean, as long as Saka gets 8 points or fewer, the strategy feels very strong, right? In terms of effectively saving 4 points, right? Because if I look ahead to my squad for game week 34, I have at the moment I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 players and I have 2 free transfers, right? So I can use 2 frees to get to 10, and that might be enough for me, right? I'm not sure I'm even going to go a full 11 for this
interesting
week.
Yeah,
I don't quite know what, like, I don't know. It sort of depends.
Why? Talk to me a little bit about like the advantages or disadvantages of going 10 players versus 11.
Well, I guess the advantage would just be having one extra player. I mean, for one thing, if one of my players is a defender, then the problem there is basically you immediately need 6 points.
Can you field 3 defenders?
I can't. No.
Okay.
So I have 2 defenders.
Okay.
4 midfielders and 1 forward at the moment. So, but the question for me, and this sort of gets at, I guess, why I find the chip stuff to be slightly, I guess it isn't even necessarily chips. It's more just about the chaos of double game weeks and things like that is, because of the FA Cup, there is like a little bit of a calculated gamble at play too, which is basically, do I want to like make sure that I hold on to certain assets that I think are going to double in game week 36, right? So because we have the FA Cup this weekend, right? And that is Palace, Villa, Forest, Man City, right? So it's honestly, I think, a pretty hard semifinal to project. Like it's hard to know who's going to win between Palace and Villa, and even between Forest and Man City. I think it's pretty tough to project, right? It's I guess I would sort of lean Man City and Villa, just because I think they're both kind of respectively, all things considered, slightly better, right? But it's not like I don't feel strongly, right, one way or the other. Do you? I mean, do you feel like Forest are going to crush Man City?
Basically, what you're telling me is my Marmouche captaincy is in the mud right now. And I fully feel that right now, which makes me, by saying that, I mean, Pep Guardiola is going to field some absolutely BS team in all of these matches.
That's what I'm saying. It's a really tricky. This was one of the tougher weeks for captaincy and transfers going into 33. I really felt like it was tricky. Like it was so hard to find the right combination of players, especially because every single doubler blanked the next week. And I feel like that isn't always the case. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like you don't always get double straight, it's just sort of the way it worked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
With especially with Forest playing the rescheduled, like Forest have this really crazy schedule coming up where they play Monday and then this weekend and then next Thursday and then I think the following Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like they have, what is that, 4 matches and I guess it's whatever that is, 4 matches and 11, 12 days or something like that. So it's a really squashed schedule for them. Now, in their case, I wouldn't worry too much about rotation with them. Like I'm actually looking at Chris Wood as one of my transfers, just because they just do not have the luxury of not playing for the Champions League, right? I mean, it's all to play for, right? There's 5 spots, they're in pole position, but they just cannot lose any of these matches, right? Like they basically need to win like 4 to 5 to end the season to really feel confident, right? I mean, given
they're going to vaporize Spurs 100%.
I think so too. But with Chelsea winning today, I think that if Chelsea had lost to Fulham, I think they'd be feeling a lot better, right? But Chelsea's win, I think, does put a little extra pressure on them.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's strange. It's like Chelsea, the least threatening team, for all intents and purposes. Like, here's the team you would be least likely.
Yeah, it's like they've never been a title. By. Yeah, it's like they've never been a title threat, and yet. Weirdly, it's like
they've been awful. They've been awful the second half of the season.
But then they have
so bad.
But defensively, they've been a lot better, right? And so they have been like that is like low key been the big thing. It's like they've just had a couple of matches where they've won some like 1-0s and right, and so they've been sort of like it's like they have all of these parts and it doesn't quite seem like it fits, but they have enough like there's been enough matches this season where one half of the team,
it's
right?
as if you kept
the
Maurizio Pochettino as your manager, you could actually be challenging for the title as opposed to being a joke of a team.
Yeah,
vying for a Champions League position.
You got some strong opinions today.
I do. I really do.
Yeah,
I mean,
colorful language.
How could you not have strong opinions? Listen, if you don't have strong opinions at this point of the season, like you're falling asleep.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not even sure I disagree with anything you just said.
Tell me where you disagree, and then I'll chirp up.
No. I didn't. I was just thinking of Chelsea listeners who are going to get mad at you, and I don't want to take that kind of heat.
Fair. Bring it on.
Yeah. I want to avoid the heat. So I think for me, looking at my squad, and the reason I brought up that is because let's say that Man City win, right, in the FA Cup, that means they'll most likely. Again, this is according to our Lord and Savior, Ben Crellin. They will double in 36, right? That double is quite a good one, too. It's a Southampton away, Bournemouth at home, right? So if that is the case, my inclination would be to hold onto my two Man City assets, right? I don't have a free hit left. I would rather not burn any transfers to bring them in. And so does that mean I hold on to Marmoush, right? And I sort of prioritize Mateta. And then I could just go all out on Crystal Palace. That is like one way to go. Like Crystal Palace, it's they play Forest, Spurs, Wolves, Liverpool to end the season. There's not like and they don't play in 34, right? So there's like they have one good fixture in there, I'd say. I guess Spurs away is a pretty good fixture too, but they're kind of mercurial, Crystal Palace as well, right? Like you don't necessarily know. Like they just got annihilated right away to Newcastle just a few days ago. So like I don't feel confident being like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to score 3 goals even away to Spurs, right? And so if I was to start shedding some assets, I would say that Palace is where I'd be looking, right? And Sarr has honestly done nothing for me since I brought him in, right? I've gotten like 1 assist, I think, in 5 weeks or something like that. So it could be that it's like Mateta to Wood, Sarr to Mbeumo would be like 2 really simple moves, right? And that would give me 10 players for 34. That's probably enough, So that's one way to look at it.
You said Mbeumo there. What do we feel about Mbeumo right now? He is, I think, probably the most under. It's funny because FPL is most predisposed to elevate Mbeumo because of just sort of like his price, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like he is easily like the most underrated player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Easily.
He's an amazing player. He's really building on what he did last season, kind of pre-ankle injury. He's fantastic, right? And so that's kind of where I'm looking. I
feel like we are all getting Mbeumo in the next 2 to 3
exactly.
weeks.
I should have got him this week, right? And c'est la vie. But I think let's see. So Forest away. It's like an okay fixture, but Forest haven't really been the same defensively since Aina went down.
It's a very interesting fixture. I guess we should save this for a game week 34 talk, but I think that Forest hosting Brentford is an incredibly interesting fixture for the next upcoming game week.
Yeah, why don't we let's get into 34. So I will let me see if I can just stop sharing this and let's do just a quick thank you to everyone who supported the podcast on Patreon. You go to patreon.com/ it's a quick bonus read here, Brandon. But a genuine and sincere thank you to everyone who supports the podcast on Patreon. Patreon.com/ always cheating is where you can go to say thanks to the cheaters. You get an extra podcast each week. The Discord, tons of it feels like more mini leagues than ever before, right, Brandon? I think I'm getting constantly tagged in various Discord mini leagues and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So it's
tagged. Yes, tagged. Yes. Get in there.
So
get involved.
Yeah. And ad-free podcast fee, all kinds of good stuff. So patreon.com/ always cheese is where you can go to do that. Now we can move on to game week 34. So game week 34, I do not have a free hit. I know a lot of listeners do, and you have a free hit. And so why don't you talk through your free hit team for game week 34? Let's see
Absolutely. I'm going to share.
In the words of Rick and Morty, show me what you got, Brandon.
Show me what you got.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to drive smarter with high-tech features and excellent reliability. Check out the Honda Civic, Accord, or HR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic or a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Accord or HR-V.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Feeling drained, foggy, or just not yourself? This could be the effects of low testosterone levels. Henry Meds has you covered. Our testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, is available in pills, injectable, or daily creams. Many patients report improvements in energy, mood, and focus. Though individual results may vary, TRT may support sexual function. Go to henrymeds.com/TRT to consult a healthcare provider to see if TRT is right for you. Take the first step to feeling your best again and get $50 off your first month at henrymeds.com/TRT.
I'm sharing my free hit team on the youtube.com at Holy's Cheating.
Yep.
And, this free hit for game week 34 has felt very much like a exercise in not getting caught up in the obvious of just sort of like, I think the free hit can stymie a lot of engaged managers where it's like, this is your carte blanche to do the obvious, and then your reaction as an engaged manager is like, no, I have to put my stamp on this. I have to make it my unique thing. And this is like you watch any sort of document about any artist from the 60s and 70s as they all end up driving their car into a cliff because they tried to put their stamp of authenticity onto something. So don't let your free hit be defined by that.
Yeah, okay.
Jackson, you have Ed Harris as Jackson Pollock is like the ultimate version of this.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah, I didn't actually get that reference, but yeah, okay, yeah. All right. I'm listening though. I'm listening.
I'm shocked that you didn't get my Ed Harris as Jackson Pollock reference.
Hey, so I love me some Eddie, big Harris fan. I'm a Harris head.
Yeah. So I mean, the free hit, I don't think there's a cut and dry way to explain this, sort of like for audio listeners, but just like looking at the fixture list is you take away Aston Villa, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, and Manchester City. And if you've been building your team toward the doubles in 32 and 33, you're ready to free hit.
Yep.
You have to free hit because you don't have enough players. I have 4 players who play in game week 34. I must free hit.
Yeah.
So what was immediately interesting to me deploying the free hit was I was looking at Newcastle home Ipswich, and I was like, well, so if you take in a vacuum, what are the fixtures you want to target? Obviously, Ipswich home would be one, and you're like, wow, I already have these 3 Newcastle guys. Why am I playing a free hit? Surely I can build a different strategy. No, so I think you have to get over the fact that, yes, basically keep the same Newcastle strategy. I think I've seen a question I have for you, Josh, is what to do with your, I guess, quote unquote, third Newcastle player. So going into game week 34, free hit or not, and you have 2 free transfers, just for context in the input that you're giving.
Yep.
You have 2 frees. Isak, I feel like, is a non-negotiable. He's kept. He's even put in a free hit.
Yeah.
Isak is there. And then we could get into the nuances of a defender for Newcastle, given they're hosting a very poor Ipswich team.
Yeah.
Now you get into this idea of what's your third Newcastle asset going to be? And I do think a lot of people who have been watching from the stands what Harvey Barnes has been doing is I'm going to trade on a free hit Jacob Murphy for Harvey Barnes. Or even I'm going to take a punt on Gordon.
Yeah. And Gordon replaced Murphy when he came on Saturday, I believe.
Yep. So here's my take on that, and I'll be interested in your read on that, is I think naturally Jacob Murphy always plays on the right. Naturally, Anthony Gordon plays on the left. If you were to put them in a starting 11, naturally you've got Murphy on the right, Gordon on the left. And then Harvey Barnes is kind of he's interesting because he's flexible. Because as you say, he moved to the right when Gordon came on.
Yeah.
But also there was an interesting point in that Barnes didn't come off. Who was rested? And I think the most interchangeable part, as good a form as he's been on, is Barnes. And I think Barnes makes way for Gordon. And that's my worry for people who would go Harvey Barnes on a free hit.
I think it's tricky. I mean, you could argue that Murphy was rotated, right? And that basically that Murphy makes way for Gordon instead of Barnes, right?
What do you think the starting 11 is going to be?
Well, that's what I mean, I really don't know, right? And we'll never know with Howe, right? He's
What do you think it's going to be then?
Okay, yeah, what do I think it's going to be? Yeah, honestly, I think there's a good chance that that they do try to start Gordon and Barnes together. I would argue that I honestly wonder, and I don't have a free hit, so I'm not in this position. I have my three guys, and I have is Pope, Murphy, and Isak, right? So I don't necessarily have what I think is the optimal three if I was on a free hit. To me, I would go with Schär, right? Given what feels like a really attacking mindset, that he's in right now. I think that there's a good chance that you get a really crooked scoreline in this match. If that's the case, then there's a good chance that there are assists and goals available for the defenders, right? The more assists and goals there are in a match, the less likely that Pope is to get bonus points or anything like that, right? So it's kind of like maybe throw the dice with Pope and then maybe start Sanchez for Chelsea in goal over Pope, right? I think that's one possibility. I think that Barnes is in too good a form not for him to keep starting. I think that he will get the start, and I think that he will. I don't know how many minutes he'll play, right? Of those three, I don't know how many minutes any of them will play, right? But I think even if Barnes came off the bench, given his form, I didn't think there's a really good chance of him getting an attacking return. Whereas I think that Gordon is too risky, right? No form to speak of at the moment. Not clear he's going to start. So I would remove him. And then so I think it kind of comes down to Murphy versus Barnes. And I think and Murphy, I mean, I kind of agree. I think there's he's probably I think it's very close. I think you need to gamble on one of them, and I think it's kind of fine, right?
If you're going to gamble on one of them, I think you don't gamble on Barnes, because Barnes is in the wild card spot. He plays on the left, and I as good a form as Barnes has been in, Jacob Murphy has been in equally good form. And if you think one person is outside of punishment, so to speak, of good form, there is no competition on the right-hand side. There's no reason why Jacob Murphy would be dropped. So by that logic, I think that Harvey Barnes is a no-go zone.
Well, I don't agree, honestly. But
so you'd go for Barnes over Murphy.
If I had a free hit, I would have Barnes, I would have Isak, and I would have Schär. Those are the three that I would have. Seriously. And that's, and I do get that there's some risk there. But I guess I would just argue that there's as much risk with Barnes as there is with Murphy. However, I mean, I'm looking at your squad now. You don't even have them start.
No, Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Obama style. It doesn't matter, because why would you even start them? And I think you have such an interesting opportunity with Bournemouth. Might be the biggest free hit team in game week 34. Manchester United is. I hate that it's kind of like a meme fixture. But also, this is the perfect fixture for Bournemouth, and they have such delectable fantasy assets. The fact that Kluivert started in game week 33, he's come into fitness. Yeah. And there's no reason to, Evan Nielsen has been very disappointing the last month fantasy-wise, but then again, you look at the meme fixture of Manchester United, you're like, this could be a ticket to a free hit. This is a big deal. Yeah. So Bournemouth is one team, I think, to think about. And then you have Wolves. And Cunha is basically Cunha has been on like a Black Mirror-esque tour all season of I am with Wolves fans, I am against Wolves fans, I am like in your little disc that you put in your temple, Wolves fans. Cunha, if you're playing a free hit, you have to have a Cunha. If you don't have Cunha, I don't know what you're playing at. And
what about if you don't have a free hit? I mean, I don't have Cunha. Should I be looking at him over?
No. I think Cunha presents like a wild card opportunity. I wouldn't position him as he's guaranteed to go off. You have to have him sort of this is a perfect fixture. There is every.
It's a very good fixture to be sure.
It's a great fixture, though. You take Leicester City and their match against Liverpool.
Yep.
And you try to let's pull that apart. They were at home. They are playing for their lives. They got officially relegated against Liverpool, but they lost to the league winners 1-0.
Yeah.
And they put up a decent enough fight. Yeah. So what do you think Leicester City from that fixture say it's over, forget it, we're out? We're just going to get completely reamed by Wolves at home.
Yeah,
you have to take the Leicester of it all, which I do think as bad as Leicester have been. They basically what they would have had left, they would have put it into that Liverpool fixture.
Yeah,
it produced nothing, and they're gone.
I mostly agree. It's a Midlands derby, so maybe there's a little extra kind of juice in the game. I'm not sure if that helps Leicester or helps Wolves, though, right? I mean, maybe it'll just make for a more interesting match, like in terms of the energy level. But I think it's actually making me wonder if I should get Cunha. I mean, it's tricky, right? Okay, so let's compare the fixtures for Cunha versus Wood down the stretcher. So Cunha, just for the record, started today's match, played 90 minutes, picked up 3 bonus points, right?
He on an assist, on a free kick.
Yeah, on an assist.
Like that's how involved he is in the Wolves play.
Yeah,
is that he's getting 3 bonus from not a direct.
Even with the
direct goal involvement.
Yeah, even with the 3, what ended up being 4 match ban, he he's on what is it, 14 goals and 5 assists on the season, like an amazing year. So they have so they have Leicester at home, Brentford at home. Brighton are a great team to play right now. Brighton have kind of given up in the season, and so you have Leicester, Brighton, and Brentford, 3 very good home fixtures. Man City away in 35, not great. Palace away in 37. Fine, I think, right? So that's the stretch run for Wolves, right? And again, this is if you're in a position like me where you really have to guard your transfers very carefully, right? Because I don't have a free hit. There's 5 weeks left of the season. It's just like basically anybody I get right now, I probably want to have for the rest of the year, right? And so if we look at Forest, they are. Let's see. Sorry, just scroll down here. So Forest, well, they play Spurs tomorrow, and then honestly, pretty good too. I mean, it's Brentford at home, Leicester at home, Chelsea at home, Palace away. It's like the same fixtures as Wolves, weirdly. So it's really pick your spot, Brandon. pick your player. Do you want whichever one you want? I mean, the problem with Chris Wood is he hasn't scored a goal since game week 25, right?
He's back and playing, and we are recording this before the Spurs match on Monday.
Yeah.
So form could be informed, will be informed a lot by that match.
Yeah, maybe that'll be a tiebreaker for me a little bit.
Yeah, like at this point, putting a free hit together, and I think this is a very crucial fixture for free hit or non-free hitters.
Yeah,
Forest, Brentford, Thursday, May 1st. Bournemouth, I'm very sorry. Brentford are just a very strange team to put into any fantasy mix, in that Mbeumo is like we just hailed his praises at the start of the podcast. Like he makes the soup. Mm-hmm. He's the stock, man. He's the straw that stirs the drink. And you're talking about putting him against Forest, who are like the I don't know, basically the FPL kryptonite this season of like, let's be real about Forest, right, Josh? Where nobody loves the team in fantasy where their whole thing is defense, like negative energy, negative points.
Right. There, it's like we're going to win 1-0.
Yeah.
And our forward's going to score one
and
goal
roll
and one
the
shot.
dice, whether you have Alenga or the dime store Grealish
right.
or Chris Wood or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't love this fixture from a fantasy point of view. And also,
Morgan Gibbs White is the dime. Oh no, Alenga is the dime store.
No, Jota, like the weird guy who looks like he's like he's got like the weird computer animated version of Jack Grealish thing going on. Very odd looking guy. I just think, particularly in a free hit, and if you're not on a free hit, so you have 2 free transfers, I assume you're just not even looking at this fixture, Forest Brentford, because you're like, not very predictable. Don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, I have been talking about Chris Wood a fair amount on this pod. I mean, I guess I'm looking. I'd be looking at them. I guess
Mbeumo.
What's that? Well, Mbeumo too. Yeah, you're saying like I'm not even looking at this fixture, but I'm actually looking very closely at this fixture. I've talked at length on this very pod about both of those players.
Okay. I just feel like it's to me. Why I'm not. I don't mean to direct that at you. I'm just thinking this feels like one of the most unpredictable fixtures in the slate.
I agree.
For 34.
I would say I think the Chelsea fixture is even though I know how you feel about Chelsea at the moment, it feels like there's a really good chance of a clean sheet in that match, right? So that is a place I'm looking possibly with the transfer, right? I could consider a defender transfer because I just think like very strong chance of it. I guess if I didn't have 3 Newcastle players, I would maybe be looking at like Char as well. But I think in terms of predictability, I mean, like in your case, I would probably try to find a way to get 3 Newcastle players in the pitch, right? Just in terms of like the match this weekend that has the highest chance of being like a real blowout in favor of one team. I do think it's the Newcastle match. And if you view it through that lens, that's probably the match where you'd want to have 3 assets starting, right? Even given, and if you don't really trust any of the midfielders, then you could consider Pope and Schär, right? And maybe Aït-Nouri is first bench defender or something.
What do you take from the Newcastle Aston Villa match then, as far as that take is concerned?
I don't really know. I mean, the thing about that, it's a tricky one with Villa because they're still playing for the Champions League. They had what I thought was kind of encouraging, even though they lost that Champions League match to PSG. I mean, they actually won the game, right? And they were a goal away from going into extra time. And so, and it was kind of a heartening match in some ways, right? Because they kind of came back from being down early, right? I think PSG scored like, I feel like it was like 5 minutes into the game, right? And so I think they were kind of buzzing weirdly. And then you have Watkins, who has been like, I don't even know. It's like not feeding a rabid dog for 3 days or something. He came out of there like I'm going to score literally in the first 60 seconds of this match. Like, do not, get out of my way, right? And he and Fabian Schär combined to make that happen. A minute into the game, and so, but I thought he had a really good game, and so I just
collusion.
I just think they ran into it was the wrong time to play Villa, basically. Yeah. And I don't think that it's like I don't feel like that's going to carry over to next weekend. Right. Maybe if they were at Ipswich, I'd feel a little differently, but home just feels like that they're going to, if anything, they're going to be extra motivated because they're still fighting for a Champions League spot and they just lost. Right.
When people say the Premier League is not up to snuff and it's just a money league and it's filled with a bunch of like facsimiles of players, I point you toward that Villa Newcastle match and say, this is the real deal. Like, it
was a fiery match, wasn't it?
It was great. It was a really good match.
Yeah.
And it's football it's not like the NBA. It's not like any other sport, and that you can't just like magically make a league in which like every match it's going to be perfectly calibrated, super competitive. Very interesting. And I think that's why year to year, season to season, you get like weird non-tension inflected title races like what we have this year. And I totally agree. I think it's very difficult to pull out of that Villa Newcastle match what you could expect. And therefore, looking at game week 34, the shine of Newcastle should not be washed away. And that's why in my free hit, I have currently in my free hit, it's Jacob Murphy on the bench, just sort of as respect to the Newcastle attack. And then I'm starting Isak, and then I have Pope. And I think it's there are just so many interesting options. Free hit, 8 Nuri. Wolves is up there with Bournemouth for me in terms of here are teams where you're going to have to like baby step your fantasy way toward in terms of investment. And free hit is your chance to go see them live without having to buy the album. I'm going to go see Wolves, and I don't have to actually buy like their kit in the store or anything like that. And like they have been playing so well the last like 2 months, let's be clear. And Nuri and Cunha in, and then Cucurella, I agree with you. In terms of like, if I'm going to give any plaudits to Chelsea, it would be just kind of from that point of view.
It's crazy that Cole Palmer is like not even he's
vanished. He's totally vanished.
It's really bizarre. I don't get it. Like I just don't get it. I can't remember this ever happening like to this degree before to like a top 5 fantasy player where they just like stopped being relevant. Like it's just weird. I mean, you have to go back to basically like the festive fixtures, right? He had a back-to-back 10-pointers in game week 20 and 21. And
do you think there's anything to what's going on at Chelsea? Like, because Maresca is basically a lame duck, just like a joke manager, that Cole Palmer doesn't seem like a guy who plays politics. He's not He's not old enough. He's not big enough in the league to pull those kinds of strings, but it does feel to me like he knows enough to be like, this is not worth my time. Or my agent tells me this is not worth my time.
It's possible. I really don't know. I honestly, like, I feel like stuff will come out this summer. Right. And I was just looking at his price. He's got one of the more interesting swings in price. He started the season at 10.5 million, got all the way up to 11.4 million. Right. So like a 0.9 million price rise. Yeah. And now he is back down to 10.6 million. So I wonder how often a player has gone up 0.9 and down 0.8 without an injury. Right. It's crazy. Okay. So there's lots to consider. How about the captaincy question? I mean, I think that there are basically 2 players that are worth considering here, right? One would be Isak, home to Ipswich, and the other one would be Salah, home to Spurs. And again, Spurs match, to the extent it matters, the Spurs match hasn't been played yet. But it looks like you've got Captain Salah right now. Is that a strongly held opinion, or just kind of like you're going back and forth a little bit?
It's not a strongly held opinion, and I think this is a think about the context question of I'm playing free hit, and the free hit is a weapon in and of itself, and context dependent. If you're really trailing in your mini league, you want to make a huge jump, free hit, get it some differentials in, and obviously captain somebody who's not Salah.
Right.
If you, like right now, I am around 150,000 overall. My goal would be top 100K.
Yep. Good chance of that, I'd say. Yeah.
Mo Salah feels like a good captain in that situation where watching him against Leicester, it was frankly unappealing. It was appealing in that he generated a decent XGI, but it was just like classic non-converting XGI Salah, and like all of his chances that he tried were horrible and dumb and just like the worst version of Salah. And which is bad in that it just reflects what we've seen from Salah the last month in terms of
Yeah.
Maybe he's just thinking about the next thing, or
it's his annual dip, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Salah every year it's not Cole Palmer level, but he has these a little 5-week stretch or so where he kind of dips and then the ship rights itself, right?
So there it is. I think there is an opportunity to captain Salah.
Yep.
And I think there is an opportunity to not captain Salah.
Yeah, I'm leaning Isak at the moment. I mean, my rank is a little, it's a lot lower than yours. I mean, thankfully the last couple weeks have helped me enough that I'm in a less, I'm like at 370, right? So, or whatever. I think I started the week at like 350. And so we'll see what happens with, the rest of the matches in this game week. But if I were to get to it's a question from Jimmy Rogdog Town, who said, and now that we're fully in the final stretch, any late season goals for your team? Many leagues have a chance in personal records to consider, et cetera. I mean, last year was a really rough year for me. I don't think I handled it very well. I was just in a bad mood about fantasy for like a year. This year I've tried to be more philosophical about it, and sort of take it in stride. And I think if I were to get inside the top 200K, I would feel like, okay, not bad, right? It would be it would feel like the arc of the season was like a positive one, right? Mm-hmm. It would be like, okay, you righted the ship, you kind of steered it. It's like docking the ship, right? It's like you've steered, to keep the metaphor going here. I'm steering it into the dock, and it's not. We got battered by the waves, but the ship is. It's not too damaged. I don't know, whatever, right? I don't know how much further I want to go with this, but basically it would be, I would not feel like the season was like a mess or a failure. If I was if I finished 184K, I'd be like, okay, nice job. Move on, right? What about you? I mean, so just top 100K, any other specific goals or mini league goals?
Top 100K.
Yeah. I try not to get too caught up in the mini league stuff because it kind of takes care of itself, right? Unless you're going to unless you're going to hold a chip for a head-to-head league or something, it's very hard to do that.
You just have to play the game.
Yeah.
And unless you're playing with a bunch of adults at your office that you can hold at bay with some chip plays specifically that they're not paying attention to.
Right.
Otherwise, you just have to play the game and it's just going to sort itself out.
Yeah, I mean it's. I don't
like the defensive aspect of the game.
No, it's like golf, and for anyone who watched the Masters last week, Rory McIlroy was cruising in the Masters. He was up, I think, 5 strokes on the 13th hole, and then Rory's a very aggressive player, and Rory decided that going down the stretch, he was going to play a sensible version of himself, and suddenly he, had basically a layup onto the fat part of the green, right? And he shanked it into the water because he couldn't even get his body to play safe if it wanted to, right? And the act of trying to do it made him capsize almost, right? Yeah, he went from up 5 to literally down a stroke in 2 holes, right? It was I've never seen anything like it. It was amazing that he won, right? And so I think that in fantasy, it's kind of the same thing, right? It's just golf. You just play your best game. You trust your instinct. Brendan, if your instincts on, Jacob Murphy are that I trust in the most of the midfielders, I mean, your instincts have served you well this season. So it seems like that's probably the way to go, right? And in that kind of 40 chess stuff where you're I'm going to do what I think this, you know what I mean? It's it's probably not really worth it. And we saw it with rotation this week, right? All this, I mean, yeah. Did Saka blank? Yes. But did people who brought him in and captain him arguably make the right decision? I think so, right? I mean, like you said, he had the highest XGI. Was it of anybody on this weekend? I mean, what else?
Ridiculous. He should have had a hat trick in 30 minutes.
Yeah. And what else can you ask for, right? And I mean, for you and I doing have Saka, I just feel like I completely got away with one, right? I mean, let's see what happens the next week. But that's I mean, it's part of the fun of fantasy too, is trying to get away with one, right? And so, so anyway, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I think do I have any other? Oh, I guess here, a question for you. How many players would you suggest somebody have if they're not free hitting, right? Let's say you're somebody who used your free hit early. You haven't necessarily done a ton of planning. You suddenly look at your squad for 34 and you're like, oh my God, I've got 1 transfer and 6 players, right? What would you Yeah, there's someone listening who's in that spot, right? So what would you do in that
if you're
scenario?
listening and you've got 6 players, sorry, you blew it.
Okay,
you're toast. I mean, my advice is, if you're in that situation, honestly, I would burn 16. Like, get in 9 or 10 players.
Well,
because of the opportunity.
I think that's right. I think when you look at the number of, like, when you look at Wolves at home, when you look at Newcastle at home, even Chelsea, I think at home, just because I don't think that Everton squad they're playing a very toothless version of football at the moment, right? I mean, credit to Moyes, he's done a nice job there, but I honestly just don't expect them to score a goal in that match, right? So like there are opportunities, like, so Cucurella, like he's been showing some attacking threat, right? Like he's somebody who's worth a -4 probably, right?
Yeah. I think so how many, I think you're a very instructive manager in this situation where you have no free hit, and how many players can you field and how many players are you expecting to field?
Yeah. So if I use my 2 free transfers, I'll be at 10 players, and then I will decide closer to the weekend if I want to burn another 4. And to me, again, the calculus is, whether I'm burning players that I might want later on, right? Because again, I'm trying to prioritize. I don't want to transfer anybody out that I might then want to transfer in the next 4 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And that is the biggest question for me is, are there players that I'm going to want over the next 5 weeks? And that's why I think literally just dropping all 3 of my Chelsea assets is probably, or not Chelsea, excuse me, Crystal Palace is probably something that might make sense. Yeah, exactly. And if I look at it through that lens, then it's like, just move them all, right? Sure. And like, it's fine. And then I could bring in Cucurella, and that's probably worth a -4 because I think there's a good chance of a clean sheet that Everton game, right? So then, again, if I'm replacing a 0, right? So even if all I got was a clean sheet, no bonus, right? Mm-hmm. I would still be up 2 points in that scenario.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Pinning your hopes on a Chelsea clean sheet feels like,
I know. Well, this is. I mean,
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Yeah. And Cucurella is in my free hit team for sure. But it just feels like this Chelsea team has come up so short in every aspect at this point in the season.
I do agree with you on the Forest, that match being pretty tricky though too. Yeah. I would say I would not go crazy on that one because again, we just don't know what's going to happen this weekend, right? Like in the FA Cup, if that's a really intense match, and there also could be injuries, right? I mean, that's the other risk, right? Is like you literally just bring in a player. I mean, it's really important for me, right? Like because I don't have it's almost leaning me towards Cunha again because like I have no bench, right? So if I bring in Chris Wood and he gets injured, like re-aggravates his injury this weekend, there's nothing I can do, right? Like the game week has already started. So
let's go through going through these fixtures with like cold harshness. Yeah. You look at Chelsea Everton, you're like
2-0. Let's just do it real quick. All right, let's do like Malcolm Gladwell Blink style.
You say 2-0, I say 1-0 Everton. Okay. Brighton, West Ham, I feel like there are goals for West Ham. There are no clean sheets. In terms of just like raw investment, no investment in Brighton. Bowen, sure, go for it.
2-1 or 2-2. Brighton 2-1 or 2-2. Yeah, Newcastle, Ipswich. I'm going big here. I'll say 5-0 Newcastle.
Okay. 2-0.
2-0. There's no way they're only scoring 2 goals in that match. In my opinion.
The Fulham Southampton game is kind of interesting, especially for free hitters, because I think this is some free hitters will see this as an opportunity for Fulham, and I think Fulham are just
it's tricky. Maybe
floundering a bit.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I agree. I wouldn't want any defenders. Obviously, you can't have a forward right now. Iwobi would be the only one that you could maybe consider.
Possibly, yeah. It just feels like an avoid. And then you get Wolves. Leicester were just relegated. Leicester, I think, are a prideful team. They have fight in them, but Wolves have proven that they're just like, they're actually quite good.
Yeah. Let's call this another 2-0.
Yeah. It's Bournemouth, Man United, I think, is if you're free hitting, Manchester United fully off the table, which is So hilarious. Oh, it's so funny.
This one's got 3-1 written all over it. Bournemouth, Man United will score an irrelevant goal, and Bournemouth will score.
That's
3.
right.
Yeah.
So Housen on the bench feels very appropriate for a free hit.
Yeah.
Liverpool Spurs is, I think, the free hit match.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about this one. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any read on Spurs right now. I don't know what to say about them. I mean, obviously they're not playing well. Haven't been the entire season. So, but Liverpool haven't been their attack has not been amazing either, right? And so that
they haven't gone against a dogmatic team like Spurs in a while. This does feel like one of those, and they will be playing at home at Anfield for the title.
Right.
If Liverpool win this match, they walk out with the trophy. And if Spurs love to do anything, they love to play in matches in which other teams win the trophy. We'll all remember the battle at Stamford Bridge where Leicester won the title. I do think that Liverpool absolutely vaporize Spurs here, 5-0, and Salah gets a hat trick. I just believe it will happen.
Fair enough. I don't feel as confident. Although, wait, so if they win this match, they win the title?
Yeah.
That does change things a little bit for me.
Go on.
Well, just that's a little extra motivation, right? You want to win it at home.
Sure.
Well, you want to win at home in front of your supporters, right? Mm-hmm. Spurs are a hilarious team to win against. I don't know why.
Joke.
Just because they're kind of a clownish team this year. Yeah. So maybe I'm coming back around.
5-0.
That's
Captain Salah.
I'm going to say 3-0.
You've got to Captain Salah. I feel like Captain Salah game week 34. It's happening.
It does feel like there's a Salah pen in this match.
It's done. It's
right.
done and dusted.
Yeah.
He's sitting on that little advertising hoarding, acting like he just won a game of Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, like the weird thing that he does. And then you get to Forest Brentford, which I think ultimately allows Sturm and Drang will be like a 1-1 and nobody will get what they want in terms of fantasy managers.
That seems right.
And so, I do think it's down to Bournemouth, Wolves, and Liverpool on the free hit.
Yeah. And with maybe a Chelsea defender or two tossed in there.
And Newcastle, sure.
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Newcastle, but everyone probably
Wolves.
already has 3 either way, 3 Newcastle, whether you are free hitting or not, you're probably going to have 3, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, well, good. This is a very substantive podcast for us. We talked through a lot here. I think we've said enough, Brandon. Let's end things here. And let's sign off. We'll say once again, thank you to everyone who listens to the pod, supports us. You can go to patreon.com/alwayscheating. Brendan, do you want to thank our producer patrons?
I do, yes. Let's see. I'll pull up their names, and I will thank producers Mike DePietro, Trevor Ingerson, T-Bone, Dave Wagner Lodahl, our buddy Chris Howell, Andy Penn, Nick Wright, Lazarus Llanos, Jesse Halstead, Brian Chin, Babas Kuhn, Blair Jacobson, Todd Byerly, Andy Portlock, Dan Parsons, Terrence O'Donnell, Kerry Swanson, Jefferson Turner, as he does it, Francis Moore, Sam Shower, Craig Jackson, Caleb Robbie, Brian Clark, Thomas Tisloff, Fred Jacobson, Gareth H., Shalin Afkadakia, Rishi Nigam, Noah and Louise, Travis Grant, Linus Vennerstrom, Matthew Skinner, Ben Coombs, Eric Kite, Rune Sandberg, the 3 Jims, James Murray Wood, James C., James Hollins, James, I got to be real with you, man. Ipswich, you got to go. You just got to go. Yeah, Scully, Craig at Total Maths Tutoring, and Francis Mann. We need to shout out Josh, that's the Always Cheating community team that's operated by Francis Mann continues apace.
It's on molten fire at the moment. Yes.
It is into the top 100K overall. It's just absolutely astounding.
It's winning. Yeah, for people who aren't in our Patreon, it's literally winning our second half league, the community team. We even entered it in. It was. I
think it's in like the top 500 of the total second half league of the FPL game.
Yeah,
it's like unreal.
It's unstoppable juggernaut. Yeah,
you can't stop it. You can't hope to
How
get.
many
You
chips
can only
does it have left? How many chips does our community team have left?
I think it's looking a free hit coming up. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
Don't
All
jinx
right.
it. Don't.
All right. More to come. More to come.
Rate, review, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Follow us wherever you get social media. Alwayscheating.com is the website.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to drive smarter with high-tech features and excellent reliability. Check out the Honda Civic, Accord, or HR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic or a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Accord or HR-V.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic SI and Type R.